Good morning. My name is Bob Mew, and I'm pleased to be serving as the president of the board of directors of the Grafton County Senior Citizens Council. Thank you for joining us this morning. I'll now call the 2021 annual meeting of the Grafton County Senior Citizens Council to order. We did not have an annual meeting last year. As the normal time for our annual meeting approached, the coronavirus pandemic in New Hampshire was gaining momentum, so we postponed the meeting. Since that time, we've been riding a roller coaster of pauses and surges. Although we can only meet remotely at this point, we felt it was critically important to go forward with our annual meeting, not simply to hear reports and to transact business, but perhaps more importantly, to celebrate our many achievements during this truly unusual year. Please let me mention a few housekeeping matters which we hope will help the meeting flow more smoothly. Unless you'll be speaking, please ensure that your microphone is muted. If you wish to make or second a motion, or if you wish to ask a question or make a comment, please raise your hand and be recognized. Identify yourself for the record for the benefit of all participating. There will be an opportunity for questions and comments toward the end of our meeting. The first order of business is to approve the minutes of the annual meeting in April 2019. Those minutes have been posted on the GCSCC website, and I hope that all who wish to do so have had an opportunity to review those. At this point, I'll entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
So moved.
Thank you, Tricia Brady. And is there a second? Larry Kelly, thank you. All those who approve acceptance of the minutes from the 2019 annual meeting of the Grafton County Seniors, please signify by saying aye or raise your hand. All those opposed, please say no. Thank you. The motion passes and the minutes have been accepted. I now invite GCSCC Vice President Bill Garrity to present the report of the Governance and Nominating Committee.
Thank you, Bob. Good morning, everyone. First, we have a bylaws amendment to vote on. The amendment, as you can see on the screen, will allow a vote of 2/3 of a quorum of the board of directors to amend the bylaws between meetings of the corporation, rather than only at the corporation's annual meeting. So I'll give you a moment to take a look at it. So I need a motion to approve the amendment. So I need someone to raise their hand. We identify by name for the record. This is where it gets a challenge to try to find somebody. Okay, I identified Larry Kelly. So I need a second. Natalie Murphy. Any discussion or questions? Raise your hand. We'll find you. Kathleen's helping try to hunt down all these headshots. I don't see any. So to approve, please raise your hand if you approve the amendment. Anyone, or hands down? Anyone opposed? Okay, the bylaw amendment has been accepted. Thank you very much. So the next order of business, as your Vice President and Chair of the Governance Committee, it's my pleasure to present the 2021 GCSCC slate of officers and board members for election. I'll go through all the names and then we'll have one vote at the end. So for nominated for first 3-year term, 2021 to 2024, Bill Carheck from Bridgewater, Shauna Kimball, Haverhill, Samantha Norrie, Littleton, and Christine St. Laurent, Campton. Then our next section is we have one renewing board member nominated for a third 3-year term, 2021 to 2024, Craig Lepore from Grantham. And then continuing officers, we have for 2020 to 2022, for President Bob Mew from Littleton, Vice President Bill Garrity, Hanover, Secretary Martha Richards, Holderness, and Treasurer Dean Cashman from Lebanon. And then continuing board members, Ralph Akins, Lebanon, Neil Castaldo, Hanover, Lori Fortini, Lebanon, Carol Giovanni, Lincoln, Steve Marion, Hanover, Doug Menzies, Littleton, and Natalie Murphy, Bridgewater. So I'd like to welcome a motion to approve this slate of nominees. Okay, we need a hand somewhere. Lori Fortini is, and I need a second. Give me a hand somewhere. All right, Natalie Murphy's quick on her hands. Any discussion or nominations from the floor? Seeing none. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Anyone opposed?
What are you doing?
So we're,
I'm gonna go hack outside.
What?
okay, someone's got to unmute or you're going to be, everyone's going to hear you. So thank you for the approvals, and we now have our positions filled, and congratulations to our, and welcome to our new folks. We'll get to know each other through the orientation process, but thank you for all your commitments. Bob?
Thank you, Bill. At this time, I'd like to recognize two outgoing board members who have provided dedicated service to GCSCC and continue to do so. Between them, Patricia Brady and Larry Kelly have served on the board of directors of the Grafton County Senior Citizens Council for 19 years. Each of them has served with great distinction, two-year term as board president. When Patricia was president, Larry served as vice president, and during Larry's presidency, Patricia filled the non-officer position on the executive committee. Patricia and Larry worked together very closely on a broad range of important projects and initiatives, many of which span both of their terms. Their many contributions include working diligently on a program for identification of key infrastructure and equipment needs, and the sale of $529,000 in CDFA tax credits to support a multitude of projects across our 8 locations. Overseeing a strategic planning exercise in collaboration with an executive service corps consultant, which led to the institution of a standing strategic planning committee and the development of a strategic plan. Engagement in a period of introspection and self-evaluation in preparation for a search process for a successor to former executive director Roberta Berner. Many hours devoted along with other executive search committee members to evaluating applicants, conducting interviews, culminating in an excellent outcome. Skillfully helping to guide GCSCC through financial challenges, complex personnel situations, and policy changes, and serving as very trusted, reliable, and highly responsive advisors to executive directors. The term limits contained in our bylaws mandate that Patricia and Larry step down from the board at this time. It's painful, and I don't use that term lightly, be losing so much experience, institutional knowledge, wisdom, insight, and common sense at one time. Each of them has been a tremendous mentor and friend to me, but we look forward to many professional and personal associations with them for the years to come, and hope that we can continue to rely on their sage advice when the need arises. We'd like to present to Larry and Patricia small tokens of our appreciation for their long and dedicated service. And for Larry, I'd like to add a couple of mugs to his collection of Robinson pottery. And for Patricia, I have a Robinson pottery bowl. So thank you both very much.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure every day.
At this time, I'd like to welcome Executive Director Kathleen Vasconcellos to present the Executive Director's report.
Thank you, Bob. When I was hired as GCSCC's Executive Director 3 years ago, I spent time getting to know the organization and our participants, setting short-term and long-term goals, and putting the people and processes in place to align with strategic plans that we began implementing. Then, well, you know, COVID. Shortly, Associate Director Carole Zangla is going to present details about how this agency operated and made decisions during the past year. I'm not going to steal her thunder, but I must take this opportunity to publicly thank Carole and our board of directors for their leadership. Our agency continues to benefit greatly from Carole's seemingly endless energy, her ability to creatively problem solve, and the way she leads her team by rolling up her sleeves and working side by side with them. It's difficult to imagine how we would have managed during the past year without Carole. I'm sure I'm not alone in the respect I have for her and all that she has accomplished. And speaking of rolling up sleeves, during the past year, GCSCC's Board of Directors delivered essential supplies to our senior centers throughout the county, wrote notes of encouragement to staff, cooked meals for our participants, seamlessly managed a board leadership transition, and a core team of board members met with me daily and then weekly for the first 3 months of the pandemic. I realize how fortunate I am to have such tremendous support for me personally and for this agency. And finally, I want to recognize all GCSCC employees and volunteers who, in addition to facing a global pandemic, taking care of their families and friends, and living through the most uncertain and scary time most of us can recall, they stayed laser focused on our mission. To say I'm proud of this team doesn't even begin to express how I feel. Thank you all. While COVID derailed some of our plans, we are a more flexible, strong, resilient organization as a result of the past year. We are in many ways a different organization. And not only will we get back on track with our goals and our plans, we'll do more than we thought possible. In fact, we already have. A description of the types and quantities of services we provided in 2020 will be published in GCSCC's annual report, which will be on our website next month. Our unaudited financial report is currently on our website homepage, and the audited financials will be posted when they're available. Looking ahead, 2022 is a special year for GCSCC. It's our 50th anniversary. We're gearing up for a comprehensive fundraising campaign to launch in 2022 to set us on a path to be sustainable for the next 50 years. I don't think it's a surprise to anyone on this call that the population in Grafton County is aging, and as a result, more people are taking part in the programs and services offered by GCSCC. We plan to continue to meet the increasing need, and to do so, the fundraising campaign will target 5 specific areas. Sustaining our core programs while implementing new programming to attract younger seniors as well. Investing in capital needs at our buildings throughout the county. Paying wages that allow us to attract and retain the best employees. Upgrading our technology to be as efficient as possible. And conducting community outreach to raise awareness about our programs and services and how to access them. You'll be hearing much more about this campaign next year, and I look forward to talking with you about it then. For now, I want to sincerely thank you for taking the time to attend this meeting and for supporting GCSCC in so many ways. We're fortunate to be a part of such engaged communities that truly care about their older residents. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathleen. At this time, I'd like to welcome Associate Director Carole Zangla to present the keynote address. Carole has been an absolute mainstay of our operations in the pandemic environment, supporting Kathleen, other members of our senior staff, and center directors with her signature energy, enthusiasm, and creativity. I know that you'll find Carole's presentation to be highly informative, inspiring, and entertaining.
Hello, welcome. First, I would like to thank Kathleen Vasconcelos our Executive Director, Bob Mew, the President of the Board, our wonderful Board of Directors, and our amazing staff and volunteers for their leadership, hard work, and support that makes telling our story even possible. And I am truly humbled and honored to be part of such a resilient and triumphant organization. GCSCC's purpose is to develop, strengthen, and provide programs and services that support the health, dignity, and independence of older adults and adults with disabilities living in our communities. This is our mission, pandemic or no pandemic. St. Francis of Assisi once stated, "Start by doing what is necessary, then what is possible, and then suddenly you are doing the impossible." That is exactly what our GCSCC staff has done in the face of this pandemic. We saw opportunities, silver linings, and pearls at every turn. In fact, we actually expanded our services. Think about that for a second. While faced with a worldwide pandemic of epic proportions, GCSCC didn't fold. We didn't close down. We didn't shy away from the challenges. We expanded. We became GCSCC Reimagined. Now, I know what you're thinking. You want to know how. And in the next 4 hours, I'm just seeing if I still have your attention. Don't worry, Kathleen didn't give me 4 hours, but I could fill that time. We were that innovative. But instead, I'll take you on the abbreviated tour. But if I'm going to tell the story, I have to do it properly. And to do that, I have to start at the beginning. It was March 14th, 2020, when the leadership team realized that our little corner of the world, Grafton County, would not be escaping COVID-19. We met on a Saturday to brainstorm what a 2-week shutdown might look like, logistically. We were like everyone else, thinking 2 weeks out, and not even considering a long-term problem. We decided that we had an amazing staff who were dedicated to serving our clients. And we knew we could roll with the punches and make it through the next couple of weeks to flatten the curve. We were aware that there would be challenges, but we were certain that our board of directors, volunteers, and community support would rise to our aid. And we were right about almost everything. We did have all those things, but we were wrong about one thing. We were wrong about it lasting only 2 weeks. And 2 days later, on that Monday, on what we often refer to as day one, we closed our sites to everyone but staff. We have 8 senior centers across Grafton County, owning 3 of the buildings and leasing the other 5 spaces. This meant that we were only really in control of 3 of our spaces. And we were informed almost immediately that the Linwood Center, which is housed in a town building, would be shuttered by the town indefinitely. Day 5 brought the closure of schools and subsequently the loss of some of our staff. Day 10, the staff in the business office transitioned to working remotely from their homes. By day 12, Orford was closed. And by day 16, Horse Meadow Senior Center and Upper Valley Senior Center closed their kitchens for lack of staff, leaving only Plymouth, Littleton, and Mascoma fully functioning. And then the governor issued a stay-at-home order. So 2 weeks in, when we thought, I don't know, we would be done with this pesky little shutdown, instead, we were only fully functional at 3 sites. But what is interesting is that while all of this was happening, we weren't downsizing. Oh, it might seem like that with everything I just said about the closures, but in that same time frame, in that same 2 weeks, we were actually ramping up. Immediately, each center identified their most vulnerable clients so that GCSCC could acquire those clients' groceries in addition to providing Meals on Wheels. Each site also selected and assigned 1 or 2 backup people for all tasks. We entered week 2 with a comprehensive plan in place to begin delivering frozen meals and to do so only once or twice a week. The goal was to reduce contacts for everyone. We set up a remote kitchen at Clark's Trading Post for cooking, freezing, and storing meals. And we formed a relationship with Pete and Jerry's that supplied every one of our clients a dozen eggs every 2 weeks, while also providing our kitchens a surplus supply. So far, we have distributed or used 20,000 dozen eggs. Can you even imagine that many dozen? In addition, we supplied 1,000 rolls of toilet paper to our clients, as well as much needed pet food. We acquired freezers, and then we started our new Wellness Checks program. The Wellness Checks program consisted of calling all our Meals on Wheels clients, along with any congregate or other client who had requested to be called daily. Now, this is something that we had done in the past if a site closed for a snowstorm or something like that, but we certainly had never made calls or envisioned making calls that would exceed 600 people a day. And we certainly didn't think we would be doing this days, months, or even a year on end. But these calls were instrumental in keeping some of our most vulnerable clients safe and in their homes. You know, unfortunately, we have always had seniors report that the Meals on Wheels driver was the only person that he or she saw all day, sometimes all week. But now we were hearing that most of our clients were completely isolated, even those clients who had previously been our in-house diners. And for the first 6 months, we did not have a data collection system in place to track these calls, but we worked diligently to add a module to our current database. GCSCC makes approximately 6,000 calls a month. That means that we have made somewhere in the neighborhood of 63,000 calls since day one. And we've heard from our clients that these calls, they provided security, connection, and hope. I've shared some of the comments from our clients here. It's so nice to hear a voice other than mine. I miss my family, thank you for caring. You are my lifeline, thank you for calling. I am so lonely, and your call is what I look forward to. And there was a silver lining, a pearl in this program. We made a lot of calls in the early weeks and months, and some sites just didn't have the staffing for this kind of volume. Therefore, we were able to keep some of our volunteers engaged during the stay-at-home order. Some of these volunteers told me that they went from being vibrant adults to being vulnerable adults overnight. That in itself was extremely depressing. They told me that this work, these phone calls, was what kept them going. In the following 2 weeks, GCSCC secured a contract with Birch Stream Farms, a company out of Maine who could provide bulk orders of frozen home-delivered meals at a reasonable cost if needed. King Arthur Flour came on board, providing freshly baked loaves of bread to all our clients. Outside freezer space was acquired, and many community partnerships were formed, New Hampshire Food Bank being one of them. Additionally, I think you could say that this was when GCSCC broke into show business, hitting the big screen with a television station in Plymouth and being part of the morning show at WLTN. Our Facebook presence grew by leaps and bounds. And of course, perhaps the most notable milestone, masks were mandated. As you can imagine, the need for home delivered meals increased exponentially as the governor's stay-at-home order went into effect. Incredibly, our kitchen staff in our 3 functional kitchens were keeping up with the demand. But things were always changing, and we knew that we couldn't take anything for granted. We had to be ready. We had to be out in front of the 8 ball. Our good friend and board member, Carole Zangla of Clark's Bears, offered her then closed visitor attraction in Lincoln to be utilized as a remote kitchen. But Carole and her family did not stop there. They not only offered their commercial kitchen for GCSCC use, but they also volunteered their labor and their time, as well as freezer space, to contribute 5,000 meals to GCSCC. Community support in Lincoln was widespread. Gordy's Steakhouse donated all their in-stock food upon their closure to this endeavor. And Justin from Smiley's Produce donated his refrigerated truck and his labor to transfer these meals to sites whose kitchens were closed. Price Chopper gave us cases of bags, and everyone wanted to help. So now we are only 1 month in on this journey. We're operating with only 3 fully functioning sites. We have a reduced number of staff, essentially no volunteers. And what do? More, of course. GCSCC scours the community and finds a kind-hearted business owner, Mark Baxter of Creative Counters, who was not only willing to donate his box trucks, but also to donate his staff to drive from Lyndonville, Vermont to Manchester, New Hampshire to pick up 12,000 pounds of shelf-stable food. That is 6 tons of food, and deliver that food to the Littleton Area Senior Center for distribution to all of GCSCC clients. Community members such as the Littleton Rotary, North Country reps, fire and police personnel, and many others showed up to help unload the trucks. It was truly a community effort. With approval from New Hampshire DOT and the Department of Health and Human Services, BEAS, and I must pause here because I would be completely remiss if I did not take a moment to express our agency's undying appreciation to these 2 state entities for being so flexible and easy to work with during this pandemic. Their dedication to serving New Hampshire residents through community partners like us has been unwavering, truly amazing. GCSCC was able to use its fleet of buses to distribute this shelf-stable food across all of Grafton County. And we did this multiple times. To date, we continue to deliver shelf-stable bags of food to anybody who needs them with our continued partnership with the New Hampshire Food Bank. Still, only 1 month in, GCSCC was one of the first agencies in the state to launch a new transportation program, clientless travel. Now we know many seniors struggle with transportation access on a regular basis, but when there is a stay-at-home order and a pandemic at play, there was no way at all for many of our clients to access essential services. So we launched a new program, and GCSCC began a pickup and delivery service. While our buses remained empty, our drivers kept busy. We delivered prescription medicine, library books, durable medical equipment, groceries, mail, and yes, even piping hot pizza. We moved through the fall and into the spring, creating partnerships at every turn. Thayer's Inn in Littleton loaned us 100 cubic feet of commercial chest freezer space, along with a loading dock to facilitate Littleton Area Senior Center's operation, which was serving its own area of 200 plus clients, along with all of Lincoln, all of Woodstock, and the Haverhill area. Crosstown Motors lent us vehicles on a regular basis. We partnered with Dartmouth College Dining Services for additional freezer space in the southern part of the county to accommodate a bulk Birch Stream Farm order that we acquired for our Lebanon clients and for potential emergencies. Listen provided us food and manpower. As you can see here, the community support was amazing. I cannot possibly name everyone that supported us. These logos are 3 deep. If I haven't mentioned you, trust me, you are in here somewhere. And who could forget our partnership with the USDA Farm to Family Project? GCSCC partnered with the USDA Farm to Family Project at our Haverhill Senior Center to distribute over 1,000 boxes of food to the community. We called in the entire community to help us, including the Department of Corrections next door. The boxes literally went to everyone, regardless of age or income. We had all the local schools send representatives to pick up truckloads. We had buses from 6 other GCSCC sites pick up enough for their home delivered meals routes and other clients. We had random community families who received a notice from their children's school or from our Facebook pages come for their own families. We had housing authorities send trucks for their units. And Haverhill Senior Center clients came out in droves. We started the summer of 2020 with a bang, replacing our congregate meal program with a drive-through approach, our grab-and-go meal program. To date, we have served approximately 15,000 meals through our sites in this one program. Our growth and success might best be measured in Orford, where pre-pandemic, we could have 10, maybe 15 people attend the weekly congregate dining meal. Recently in Orford, we have served in excess of 80 Orford clients at each weekly event. If you feed them, they will come. I'm going to take a minute to share a personal story. We were a couple months into the pandemic when Littleton Senior Center had their first grab and go. As many of you know, my time with GCSCC originated in Littleton. So while I feel personally connected to the staff and the clients at all our centers, there might be some truth in saying I have some personal ties to Littleton clients, I guess just by design. In the beginning days of our grab and go program, Kathleen, Bob, and I would travel around the county, attend, and support our grab and goes. So I was at Littleton's, first one. It was June. It was also one of the first times that many of our clients had ventured outside their homes. They knew GCSCC was adhering to state regulations and CDC guidelines, and they knew that we had taken additional steps to ensure everyone's safety. So they came out. Robin, the center director in Littleton, was relatively new, so I was handling the sign-in sheet. This meant that I was seeing everyone as they came through. As people rolled up, I barely recognized them. It had only been 3 months, but their faces had changed. They looked older, worn out, despaired even. But Littleton did what all our sites do. They talked and they joked, and before those folks moved out through the other end of the parking lot, you could see the twinkles and the sparkles return. And at that point, we all knew that the work we were doing and the work we would continue to do was saving lives. As time went on, staff realized that the pandemic wasn't about a temporary shutdown. And as the sites developed different workflow patterns, we made simple tweaks that expanded our nutrition program to include daily hot meals by request, hot home delivered meals along with frozen meals, multiple grab and goes per week at each site, and we incorporated entertainment, raffles, fundraisers, giveaways, books, and puzzles into these outdoor events. Amid a statewide shutdown, in the middle of a nationwide pandemic, GCSCC found a way to tackle a core determinant of health, social isolation. Our amazing staff did the impossible. They were once again providing socialization. In July, GCSCC started interagency programming committees. Now, these were designed to bring innovation to the forefront and to reimagine GCSCC across all of its programming. Staff members from all 8 centers voluntarily committed to 3 committees: transportation, facilities, and activities. These groups conducted research, they problem solved, sought opportunities, developed the current workforce, and planned for future needs. There was nowhere that this was more evident than in our activities programming. I don't think that it's any secret that pre-pandemic GCSCC struggled with technology, but you should see us now. The work that our staff has done in this area has been phenomenal. We offer more online opportunities than any of our colleague agencies. No matter how long I speak about GCSCC activities, I could never do this aspect of our programming justice. We went virtual with art, music, education, entertainment, hobbies, health. We would definitely be here for 4 hours if I tried to list everything that we have arranged. But first we had to teach our clients how to broach the internet world. And we did this by offering Zoom 101 online classes. We followed those classes with instrument instruction, exercise groups, learn to draw, learn to paint, you name it. And we responded to those clients who lacked access to the internet by offering phone-in options. We were excited to watch client participation numbers increase, but we knew that there were still other seniors who we weren't reaching with the internet and phone alone. So we sent out craft kits, utilizing home-delivered meals drivers, our buses, and even the US mail. We started a pen pal group, matching seniors from across Grafton County according to interests. We taught ukulele, guitar, and flute online. We even took a trip to Ireland for St. Patrick's Day, and we're headed to Mexico for Cinco de Mayo. It is safe to say that our activities programming left no one and no interest behind. And while all of this was going on, ServiceLink managed to assist approximately 400 clients during open enrollment and had a savings for Grafton County residents of $286,188 on their prescription drug plans. They also set up online new to Medicare classes, and they helped senior center clients access the internet with loaner tablets. They worked with other agencies like Ahead Housing, planning educational series for their senior housing residents. Additionally, RSVP, now rebranded as AmeriCorps Seniors, moved a couple of their bone builder programs online, and ChoreCorps volunteers continued to serve in a limited capacity. They also continued to make their good morning calls, logging 4,343 telephone reassurance and social calls. They also worked with the student charitable group from Dartmouth, Health Access for All, on an expansive oral history project. If we fast forward through the year, we will get to where we finally saw the light at the end of the tunnel with the vaccine rollouts. But we didn't sit back and wait. GCSCC jumped right in, making connections with local authorities and started offering our centers as mass vaccination sites. The Haverhill Senior Center might not be Fenway Park or Gillette Stadium, but they still managed to push 450 vaccinations. That is 1 a minute out in one day. Our clinics across the county were no small feats. They took dedication from our staff and volunteers, and it was incredibly exhausting work to be sure. And we did this time and time again, until eventually we had a hand in fully vaccinating thousands of seniors with both first and second doses of Moderna. The vaccine rollout was followed by one question that was and is on everybody's mind. When will you reopen? Well, we had a managers retreat in May of 2020, and then another one this past March to make sure that we were headed in the right direction, both then and now. We had heard some kudos for our cautious approach to reopening, but we had also heard a lot of frustration from our clients and volunteers who were tired of being isolated. And that's understandable. We have erred on the side of caution. That has been frustrating for some people, but it is for our clients' safety, for our staff and volunteers' safety, for our community's safety. But I think this one short story might sum up our position best. There was a day recently when we were packing about 1,000 meals to be delivered that day. We had a particular volunteer who knew we were doing this and she wanted to help. And I had to tell her no. And that crushed both of us. But I explained that if she brought the virus into us, into the center, that would be a problem, a big problem. But we have plans in place for such a problem. We would shut down the site. We would serve that area from another site. We'd clean, we'd sanitize, and we would all quarantine, and we would be okay. But if one of us gave her the virus and she didn't recover, I would be devastated. Everyone at GCSCC would be devastated. And we just couldn't. We just can't take that chance. So where are we today? Well, our journey hasn't ended. We're still in the middle of a pandemic. But GCSCC is stronger than it ever was. We rallied, we expanded, we exceeded. We looked inside and built on our strengths, finding pearls and silver linings throughout the journey to continue to fulfill our mission and more. Most of our employees have returned to us, and only our 2 smallest centers remain closed per our landlords. We are still offering grab-and-go meals out of those parking lots though, and the clients in those areas are receiving full service from sister sites. We resumed in-person transportation this month, albeit 1 person at a time. And we are busily planning our future services, taking 1 oyster at a time. And when we are finally through this pandemic, the world will be our oyster, and GCSCC will continue to find every pearl to serve our clients to the fullest. GCSCC wishes to thank all of you, our staff, our volunteers, and our very, very generous community members who have supported us throughout this journey. Without you, none of this would have been possible. Thank you.
Since March 14th, 2020, we have successfully confronted unprecedented challenges. We've weathered a mind-boggling array of changes and uncertainties. Our senior staff, center directors, and employees have borne hardships and disruption with equanimity, grace, and thoroughly positive attitudes. They have risen to the task with creativity, resourcefulness, sound judgment, and selfless dedication to our mission and our clients. Our board members have been tremendously supportive as well, to include participating in high volume food preparation, assisting at grab-and-go meal events, unloading trucks, and crisscrossing the county to deliver fresh bread and that mundane but suddenly precious commodity, toilet paper. Our regular volunteers have gone the extra mile, and many of our friends have come forward to help us with emerging or short-term needs. GCSCC has been the beneficiary of incredible generosity. Both longtime donors and new friends, foundations, corporate supporters, and individual donors have all stepped up to the plate to help us meet new, increased, and evolving needs. Our payroll protection program loan is forgiven in full, and we've received the benefits of a number of other federal and state recovery programs. We've received remarkable attention in the media and considerable other public exposure, with the result that many more people know today who we are, what we do, and how well we do it. Although feeling deeply the effects of isolation, our clients have been patient, understanding, supportive, and appreciative. At the same time as our staff have been working tirelessly to maintain a first-rate operation under the leadership of our Executive Director, Kathleen Vasconcellos, they've also continuously and conscientiously labored at short-range strategic planning and the development of an amazing array of alternative programs which are compatible with our COVID-19 restrictions. Life is about choices. We can listen to the news or read the headlines and get upset or become depressed. On the other hand, as GCSCC employees, volunteers, and supporters do on a daily basis, we can make a conscious decision to write our own headlines, surrounded by people who are important to us, with love, caring, compassion, and commitment. Under the stresses and strains of the COVID-19 pandemic, an already strong, resilient, and caring organization has become even more so. I've been blessed to work with many thoroughly professional, talented, and dedicated people in my previous lives, but my 8-year association with GCSCC has been especially gratifying.
Yeah.
Bob, you're muted.
I'm sorry, at the close of Carole's presentation, I was probably muted as well, but I just wanted to thank her for a truly remarkable effort. Thank you. At this point, I'd like to open the floor for any comments or questions. Anybody wish to speak?
Bob, it's Larry. I couldn't get myself unmuted after your wonderful comments. But I just wanted to say thank you. It's been a tremendous relationship with GCSCC, and it's in wonderful hands and is going to keep succeeding as it goes forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Larry. We enjoyed our relationship.
I would like to thank everybody for keeping us safe and happily occupied during this difficult year. I've actually been thriving thanks to all of you. So thanks very much.
Thank you.
I'd like to say, Carol, that was a great presentation. It shows what a great job and effort everyone has been doing. I deliver meals out of Plymouth Senior Center, and unfortunately, I mean, I miss it so much, missing my people. And I usually deliver it on Fridays and Wednesdays, and Tuesdays they deliver out the frozen meals, so it wasn't my day. But I'm just kind of looking forward to getting back into it because I miss my people. So, but keep up the good work. Everything has been great. Thank you.
Patricia, I want to echo Larry's comments about what a pleasure it has been to be associated with this wonderful organization. And thanks to all of you who have done so much to reimagine it in such useful and clever and prosperous ways. So thanks very much.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? If there are no additional questions or comments, nor any additional business to be brought before the meeting, I would welcome a motion to adjourn the meeting. Motion by Patricia, second by Natalie. Is there anyone opposed to adjourning the meeting at this time? I see no hands. Hearing no objection, I declare the meeting adjourned. Thank you for your hard work, continued support of GCSCC.